All right, so this evening we come to the end of our study of the book of Jonah, and we will look at the fourth and final chapter of the book. And I would like to begin by just giving a quick overview, again, for the sake of any that may not have been here for the first two or this morning. And those of you who were here, you'll recall that the main themes of this book are God's sovereignty and God's grace. We see these two all over the book. God's sovereign reign over all things, and God's grace, how he's pouring his grace on his undeserving creatures, time and time again. And as we also said this morning, if we were to sum up this book in one sentence, chapter 2, verse 9 would probably be the best summary. And that summary is this, that salvation is of the Lord. Salvation is of the Lord. And this sentence serves as a good summary because throughout the book, again, we see God continuously exercising his sovereignty, his control over all things, control over the weather, control over the fish, control over, as we'll see this evening, plants and the weather, right? We see his control over all of these things, and he's using these things to pour his grace upon undeserving creatures, right? So that they might come to salvation, right? So salvation is of the Lord. So chapter 1, in chapter 1, we saw Jonah, right? We see the Lord call him to go to Nineveh. He's supposed to be a prophet of God. He's supposed to be a man of God, but instead he rebels against God. And instead of obeying God and going to Nineveh, he hops on a boat, headed 3,000 miles in the opposite direction. But God loves Jonah too much to let him flee from his presence, and he pursues him by casting a storm upon the sea, preventing Jonah's escape. But then there's a little twist in the story because, as you recall, that boat was full